Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to continue using we're going to continue with stuff from triangles, right? So Pythagorean theorem, who's ever heard of the Pythagorean theorem? Okay. It sounds complicated, but it's actually very easy. Okay? It's actually very easy. So, first of all, the Pythagorean theorem is only used with right triangles. Okay? All right, so let's see here. Okay. Pythagorean theorem. Okay. Only used with right triangles. Okay. And does anybody know what the Pythagorean theorem is used for?
No, I don't.
Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is used to find missing sides of a triangle. Used to find missing sides of a right triangle. Okay. All right, so let's start with, does everybody have that written down? Okay. Let's start with what the Pythagorean theorem is. But before we get to that, let's look at some of the parts of a right triangle. Okay? Yeah. In a right triangle, what does there have to be, first of all?
A right angle.
Has to be a right angle. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter whether it's, at least not yet. Okay? We can have a right isosceles. We can have a right scalene. Okay? We can't have an obtuse because an obtuse is not a right triangle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a right triangle here. All right? Now, the side that look at this thing. Okay, I have three sides to this. Which side is the longest side up here? Does anybody know?
The one that goes.
Yes.
The slanted one.
Okay, this one right here, okay? The side that does not make up the right triangle, or the right angle, okay? And that's also the side opposite of the right angle, okay? This is also what we're going to call the C side. That's the longest side. Does anybody know what that C side is called, the longest side of a triangle, of a right triangle is?
Hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse. The hypotenuse. Okay? All right. The other two sides of the triangle, the sides that make up that right angle over there, those are called the legs. Okay? These are both the legs. Okay? And one of them is an A and one of them is a B, and it doesn't matter which one you make A or B. You can make them whatever you want, as long as one of them is A and one of them is B. Okay? So, what do we have on this triangle? We have an A, a B, and a what?
C.
And a C. You understand so far?
Yeah.
A, B, and C. Okay? Why do you think that's important? Okay, because the Pythagorean theorem, is the formula. Remember this, Jacob? The Pythagorean theorem is a formula that you use, and it has A, B, and C in it. Okay? And when you have a formula, all you've got to do is what?
Plug it in.
Plug them in, right? Plug in what you need to know. Okay? So this is the formula. This is the Pythagorean theorem. And you need to memorize this because you're going to use this oodles of times from here until you graduate from college. Okay? Okay, Pythagorean theorem. Bless you, formula. Okay, it is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay? Now that doesn't change. Just like if I was finding the area of a rectangle, that's the easiest formula there is, right? It's base times height, right? Or length times width, whichever way you want to look at it. Okay? But does that change depending on how big or small or the rectangle is?
No.
It's still the same formula. Just like this, it's still the same formula, And it doesn't matter how big or how small that right triangle is. As long as it's a right triangle, that's what we use, okay? All right. Okay, so let's look at an actual right triangle, okay? And then we're going to solve for what we are looking for, okay? So let's say I've got a right triangle that looks like this, okay? Draw a right triangle, all right? And let's say that what I'm given here, let's say I'm given this is 24 feet. Let's say this is 32 feet. And I want to know what this side is, okay? Well, on your worksheet, they're actually labeled what you're trying to find, okay? But eventually, you're not going to have labels. And you're going to have to determine what's the A, what's the B, which are interchangeable, and then what the C is. The easiest thing to always identify is the C, because what did I just tell you about the C? It's always the what?
The longest.
Longest side. So this is my C, okay? So when I solve for this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write out my formula, okay? So I'm going to write A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? Did you write that down, Smear? Okay. Now all I've got to do is plug them in. Well, what did I just say about A and B? Does it matter which one's A and which one's B? No, it's up to you. I'm going to make this one my A and this one my B, and if I did it the other way, it would be okay. All right? Everybody with me so far? So now I'm going to plug these numbers in. I'm going to replace my A with a 24. So 24 squared plus 32 squared equals C squared. Make sure you write these steps down because you cannot skip steps. So write them down as I'm showing you, okay? Now, on your calculators, tell me what 24 squared is. You probably have a little button that says X with a 2,
Yeah.
okay? So press that button with the number. Sometimes you might have to press the number first, or you might have to press the number second, okay? So what do we get when we square those? 576 plus 32 squared is 1,024, and those together equal C squared. Okay, how many steps have I shown so far? I've shown 3 steps. Okay, do I want you to show every step? Yes, I do. Hello. You're just in time for, do you want to just try and get caught up real quick?
Okay.
It's super duper easy. Hey, Lacey, can she borrow your cover page, the title page? Okay, I'm going to let Christy get caught up real quick because we're not that far into the lesson. So think happy thoughts for a moment while she copies that down. Okay. Okay, got it, Christy?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then just write down what we've got up here. Okay, so now let's take the next step. I need to do these two and add them together. So if I put those together, what do I have? 1,600 equals C squared. Okay, how many steps have I shown so far?
4.
4 steps. Well, think about this. If I told you 16 equals some number times itself, tell me what it is.
4.
4. He said it, 4. Now, let's try it again. Some number times itself equals 9. What is it? 3. Some number times itself equals 25. 5. Okay, how did you find that? What did you do? You found the what? Square root. Okay, so we're going to find the square root of 1,600, and that's going to allow us to remove this 2 from the C. So once we find that, what's the square root of 1,600? 40. So 40 equals C. Okay, how many steps did I show? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps, okay? But I'm letting you use calculators, okay? And then I would just go up here and replace this question mark with a 40 feet equals C, okay? Does that make sense how I did that? Okay, now, C, when you're finding C, it's always the easiest one to find, okay? When you're finding A or B, it's a little more involved, but it's not that bad. I want you guys to find C on this one, okay? I'm going to write one up here. Christy, did you get all that copied down? Okay, everybody have this written down?
Yes.
Okay. Lacey, you good? Okay. All right, so let's try. You guys do this one for me, okay? And this one is also finding C. All right. Bam, bam. And let's say that you are given this 5 meters and 9 meters, okay? And I want to know what this is, okay? And this is going to be my C. By the way, if you come up with a number that has a decimal, round it to the nearest tenth. Okay, where's the 10th place?
It's the first one.
One place to the right of the decimal, right? Okay, so round to the nearest tenth, if you need to, okay? Write all that, write your formula, and somebody, actually all of you guys, tell me, figure out what C is, please. Okay, as you guys are working, does it matter which one I make my A and B?
No.
What if I made this one my A? Do you think that'll mess me up?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to make, I'll get all crazy, and I'm going to make this one B and this one A. Okay? So what do you think the first thing I should have done here is? Write the, rhymes with snormula. What? Formula. What is it?
A squared plus B squared.
Say it, all of you, say it.
A squared plus B squared.
Okay. What's my A? Smear, what's my A? The 5. There's no 6 up there. Okay, 5 squared plus, what's my B? 9?
Yeah.
9 squared equals C squared. What's 5 squared?
21.
What's 9 squared?
81.
What's 81 plus 25?
106.
106 equals C squared. What do I have to do to figure out what number times itself equals
Square root.
C squared? Square root. And what is the square root of 106?
10.2.
What is it?
10.3.
Okay. 10 point what? Tell me like the first 3 digits.
10.295.
Okay, 10.295. And what did I want you to round to? The nearest what?
10.
10th, okay? Anytime you round, what's going to happen to your equal sign?
It's going to become wavy.
It's going to become wavy, thank you, which means it's about, okay? Anytime you round, you're not going to have an exact answer. So I'm going to say C is about 10.3 what? Meters. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah.
When I put it in my calculator, the square root, and then I hit enter,
Mhm.
it comes up with the same thing over here as the answer.
Yeah, it's because it's a Casio. It has a setting in it. I'll look at it. Why don't you borrow one of mine for right now? Okay, because it's got a square root button. Okay, do we understand how to find C? That's easy, right?
Yes.
Everybody understand C? Raise your hand if you don't understand C.
Ew.
Okay, all right. So can we move on to A or B?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks, Brock. All right. So let's take a look. We'll use the same triangle, okay? And I've got a right angle here. And let's say on this one, this says 15 centimeters. And then over here, I've got 20 centimeters. And then I'm trying to find this one. Well, what's different about this one?
We already know C.
We already have C, right? And we already have A or B, whichever one we choose. Which one do we want that to be?
A.
Does it matter?
No.
Okay, fine. We'll make this one A, and we'll make this one C. Okay, that means we're trying to find our B, right? Right? Okay. So the first thing we do, just like last time, what do you think the first thing we were going to do is?
Write our formula.
Write our formula. Okay? So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now let's plug some things in. I don't know what A is or I don't know what B is. I don't know what B is. So do I have an A?
Yes.
I do. What is A?
15.
15 squared plus B squared equals, now what's C?
20.
20 squared, okay? Same exact formula, except now we have a number where? On the other side of the equal sign, okay? So let's go ahead and figure out what these are. What's 15 squared?
225.
225 plus B squared equals 20 squared is what? 400. Now, look at this, okay? What do I have there? Tell me, what do you identify that as?
A two-step equation.
Not even a two-step. What is it? It's a one-step equation. Well, we can call it a two-step because we've got to find the square root. But either way, it's just an equation, right? Okay? And my objective, just like if I'm solving an equation, is to get a variable by itself. Well, what's my variable up there?
B.
B. How do I get it by itself? I got to get rid of what?
225.
Get rid of this, okay? So let's take away 225 from here and take away 225 from here. What's left over here? Those are gone. What's left? B squared equals 175. Well, just like last time, when we had a number times itself, or a number squared, what did we do to that other number? Find the what?
Square root.
So the B is going to equal the square root of 175. Well, in your calculators, when you do that, what do you get? About 13 point what? 0.2 centimeters. Okay? Do you see how we did that? Yeah? Okay. Is that difficult? No. Okay. Can I erase all this? Do we understand this so far? Okay. One more thing that I got to show you. Do I need to do another example of A or B, or are we good on that? Okay. Let me show you one more thing. Okay. If, let's say I gave you three numbers. I gave you this. 7 centimeters, 14 centimeters, and 16 centimeters. And I want to know, can these form a right triangle? Okay, how do you think I can figure this out? How can I determine if those three measures form a right triangle? Noah?
You'd have to figure out which one's C and
Okay. Very good. So I'm still going to use my Pythagorean theorem, okay? I'm going to say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. How do I know which one's my c? Well, obviously, just like every triangle that we've seen, what is one of the main characteristic of the c?
It's the longest.
It's the longest side. So if I look at those three measures, which one is the longest?
16.
Okay, so I'm going to replace what with this is my c, and this is my a, and this is my b, or I can do it vice versa, right? As long as the longest side is represented by that c, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's plug them in. I have 7 squared plus 14 squared equals 16 squared. Well, what's 7 squared?
14. No,
49. What's 14 squared? 196. And what is 16 squared? 256. Okay. Add 49 plus 196. Tell me what you get. 245 equals 256. Well, is that true? Does 245 equal 256? No. So if they don't equal each other, can those three lengths of a triangle form a right triangle?
No.
No. Okay. So this would be no, they cannot. Okay. Now let me give you a super duper easy example. Let's say I had this. 3 feet, 4 feet, and 5 feet. Let's see if these form one. Which one's my C?
5.
This one. And let's get crazy here. Let's make this one my A and this one my B. Okay, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. What's A squared? 4 squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared. What's 4 squared?
16.
16 plus what's 3 squared? 9. What's 5 squared?
20.
What's 16 plus 9?
25.
Does 25 equal 25?
Yes.
Yeah, so do these form a right triangle?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. If they equal each other when you get down to the bottom, then they do form a right triangle. If they don't, then they don't. Easy enough, right? Okay. Any questions on this? Are we good?